Many leaders are in an unholy hurry of growth. The gap between what they say and what they do, that worries me. And I was told that you're not good when you lose your cool. I had to be professionally very tough and personally very nice. I could adjust to millennial workforce because I have children who are same age. What they don't like is bullshit. I'm Manoj Kohli and I am grandfather of the most beautiful girl in the world.
Manoj, what's the hardest business challenge in your entire career that you faced? What did you do and what can we learn from it?
For example, rural market of India. I think that was a big challenge. We had leadership, achieved leadership in majority of urban markets of India. For example, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Calcutta. But these are easy because they're easy. You can predict, they're more consistent, they're more predictable. But to get into 6 lakh villages of India was a big challenge. It was costly. We didn't know the behavior. And I'm talking of 2002, 2003, from more than 20 years back. The rural market at that time was not that developed. Today it's far more developed. So how much should we spend? So I started spending personal time in villages. I may have visited about 40,000-50,000 villages, sat with the panchayat, had tea and samosa with them. Okay, we'll put up a tower here, we'll open these 2 shops, we'll merchandise. There's no power, so difficult to have a glow sign. Okay, so-and-so will get the diesel for the tower for each village. So we started with revenue pools, which is bigger villages. We started with all the big market mandis. So because mandis have a lot of trades, hence traffic. We started with all the religious places all over the country because I think people come. So we overcame the rural challenge very systematically based on data, which is revenue data of the government, and based on your instincts because you meet people and understand how much traffic can come. And I think that became a very big success. And out of 6 lakh, we went to 5.5 lakh villages. And I think that in my view is far bigger than entire US and far bigger than entire EU as a continent, and profitable. And by the way, we went deeper than all the FMCG companies of Unilever, Nestle and many others. So Airtel is the deepest rural brand.
Manoj, what is the most important characteristic or attribute in a founder from taking an idea on paper to building a multi-billion-dollar business?
First and foremost, passion. Because passion leads to success. Even if your capability is a bit lower, but passion will overcome that weakness. Second is a very, very attractive product or service for the consumer. If the consumer falls in love with your product or your service, that is the clincher. And third, a business model which is profitable. It has to be profitable, it has to be viable, so that you run a long-term sustainable business.
Manoj, you're a gentleman who most boards want to have on their board. Manoj, what are CEOs or boards of today not getting right?
No, I feel that before getting into corporate governance, and that's where mantra is being repeated every day that, okay, better corporate governance. But before you get into corporate governance, understand the business first. Board can't be a non-business board, which is focusing on compliances and such things. I mean, first understand the business. Go deep into the business. Understand how management does it or how they don't do it. Understand how competition is doing it, how it is done worldwide, the same business, same sector. And then you can do much more in terms of your contribution, not only to business, but also to corporate governance. So I feel that directors are getting into governance issues before understanding business, which is actually not the right sequence. First business, and then into governance of the business.
3 things that you do whilst giving feedback to CXOs.
First, a lot of reinforcement of good work. That's very, very important because it is nearly 80-20, which means if you want somebody to absorb a negative feedback, it has to be first a positive reinforcement, which is 70-80%. Now, there may be very mature people who don't mind getting straight feedback. But they're very few as a percentage, 10%, 20%. 80% plus people, they would like to be reinforced first, and which is the right thing, and I do it very consistently. So first you reinforce. Second, when you give negative feedback, you have to give specific example, as precise as possible, rather than general. Don't make it general, because if you make it general, it will be rejected. And third is to support him, help him or her how to change, handhold how to change. For example, if somebody is weak in finance, a senior person, then you help him or her with a better quality CFO to work under that person, so that the finance decisions he can take better. Because everyone has a gap in personality. So that gap doesn't mean that he or she is a weak leader. It means he is a normal leader, but that gap needs to be supported.
As somebody who pivoted from operating companies to investing in them, what did you have to unlearn and what did you learn in that process?
So I've been a hands-on guy for all these decades. Hands-on, building businesses, running businesses, building teams, running with the teams. I had to shift to more hand-holding, coaching and advising. But luckily that happened, because even in my operating roles, I always gave freedom to my second line, third line. A lot of freedom, a lot of empowerment, and come back to me when you need any advice or when you have a dilemma to resolve. I think the transition was quite smooth, which normally, you're right, is not that smooth, but in my case, I think it went on very smoothly.
As a leader, how do you balance being compassionate with your team while pushing hard for results, yet squaring that off with sometimes having to let people go?
No, it's not easy for majority, but luckily, I don't know, God gave me some strength. It became quite easy for me. And it started in Calcutta, actually, when I was in Calcutta in 1989. I was not even 30 then, and I was leading a Sikh company of Shriram Group. So I had to be professionally very tough and personally very nice, to balance between these two. So I was personally never disrespectful, always respectful, always I took care of people, but professional goals were always stretched goals, tough goals, and all the support given for achieving those tough goals. It didn't confuse between the two. I always kept them apart. And I was also not a split leader, split personality as a leader, because I knew that personally, I have to be humble, personally I have to be simple and nice and straight and approachable. And if I'm not that, I won't be a good leader. But at the same time, professionally, in terms of business goals, targets, I need to achieve stretch targets. So I need to motivate the teams. Half the job is done by motivation, balance half is done by support. Support in terms of budgets, in terms of tools, whatever that person needs. I think 80–90% I succeeded, because I think if people they trust your leadership, they achieve it.
Having said that, data or instincts, what did Manoj bet on more, and how does one develop better instincts and decision-making capabilities as a leader?
80-20, 80 data, 20 instincts. And better instincts are when you spend time in the market. So my focus always was, for example, I go to a country for a day or go to a state of India for a day. I used to spend first half of the day in the market with the customers, dealers, listening to what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're wanting, something new, something fresh. What is competition doing? What are you doing? And just standing in the showroom or the shop and listening. So that develops instinct. Then in the afternoon, I used to do financial review, which is important. And then in the evening, we used to have people celebrations, celebrations about victories, some winning, some team winning, some vendors. So there you listen to people. So listening to customers and listening to employees is very important for a leader. And if he or she doesn't do it, then instincts are very weak.
Manoj, 3 words that describe your leadership style.
Open and flexible, that's 1. 2, calm and composed. And 3, one who inspires.
Manoj, what's the most brutal feedback you've ever received on your leadership? Who did it come from and what did they tell you?
The most brutal feedback was that And maybe it was a small period of my career when I was under tremendous pressure and stress, and I may have lost my cool sometimes. And I was told that you're not good when you lose your cool. When you're calm, when you're normal, what you are, you're much better and more effective. So try to keep to your normal self, which I think was a very good feedback, and I agree with that.
Who did that come from?
It was Sunil Mittal.
What's the one thing that you discovered pretty late about leading people?
As I said, when you lead multiple nationalities, then how does leader behave in a neutral way? For example, I had 8 Franco countries with me, where French was spoken. Luckily, I learned French in school. So I could speak some sentences. So that took me closer to people and to government people, to trade and other people I interacted. So they understood, they came closer to me. I didn't know that as you grow and have multiple countries working with you, then you need to also culturally need to be more sensitive than ever. Because if you are in one country, you are only in India or only in China, only in the US, then your behavior anyway is attuned to that culture. But then you have to modify.
Manoj, what creates self-doubt for someone like you, and how do you overcome it?
Self-doubt is very normal because leaders are challenged by situations which are unprecedented. And in an unprecedented situation, whether it's a market situation or a competitive issue or a regulatory issue or a technology issue, there is no precedent. So you need to create a new precedent. And therefore you need to get to the facts. You need to get to data. Need to talk to many people who may know about that more than you. You need to consult before taking a decision. Because self-doubt can only be resolved by facts, data, consultation, and understanding which leaders have to develop through all this process. So that within a week, let's say, of self-doubt, you should know much more about that problem, and hence you find the right solution.
Manoj, what's your advice to leaders in how should they manage a millennial workforce today, and the one thing that they should never do with the millennial workforce today?
I could adjust to millennial workforce because I have children who are same age. So millennial workforce likes culture which is straight, which is open, flexible, but direct. You speak clearly, communicate straight, no beating about the bush. Also, they love the social part of the business. There needs to be a societal goal in addition to the business goals. Also, they love to be nurtured in terms of their future career goals, future career planning, etc., etc. And what they don't like is bullshit. They don't like somebody, a leader who is trying to take them for a ride. And so they like authentic leadership. Be straight, good, bad, both. If you can help some in something, tell them straight. If you can't help, tell them straight again. So I found it quite easy to deal with them.
Manoj, in your formative years, who influenced your early thought process on leadership or people? And what's that one lesson that stayed with you throughout your career?
In my childhood, it's my parents who formed me. I used to study Ramayana and Gita. And I, by the way, read one chapter a day, even today. So in chapter 3, it is how Karma Yoga is bigger than Gyan Yoga. If somebody can blend these two aspects of life, which is gain knowledge, Gyan Yoga, and also work towards success in that knowledge, which is Karma Yoga, that blend is the most powerful blend in the world. He or she can become really very successful. So that was a message I got maybe before I was 15. I think it was a good message which stayed with me even till today. Today I read in the morning the chapter 4. So I read 18 chapters, so I read one chapter 18 days, then I start again.
What would be 3 mistakes from your career that you would tell your kids to avoid at all costs?
Luckily, I'm really blessed that I've got children, two girls and 2 sons-in-law who are very mature. And they actually, maybe sometimes I feel they're more mature than me. For example, I tell my daughter that, why don't you buy this dress? She says, Papa, look at the price. Don't you think it's too expensive for me? I said, it's okay, bete, it'll be good for you. No, too expensive, Papa. So frugality is there, simplicity is there, humility is there. And all parents have to teach by walk the talk, by their actions and behavior rather than by telling them what to do and what not to do. Yes, sometimes when my children, I feel I need to tell them something, I follow a nudging strategy. I do nudge them a bit, very nicely, so they don't feel. Because millennials don't like to be told. So if you don't want them to follow something, you tell them to do it. So it's better that you nudge them nicely and leave it to them.
Most people get nervous around Manoj Kohli, including myself. What does Manoj get nervous about?
No, I'm not. Frankly, the confidence I have in my own character, my own family, and I'm on top of that, I have faith in God. I reviewed yesterday, and if I made a mistake, and I tell myself not to repeat it again. You've done it, okay, fine, it's behind you, but don't do it again. So every day I'm self-critical. So get back.
What's the end goal and chase for Manoj Kohli? And what inspired you to be at work every single day?
Tangible contribution every day, every minute. And I have enjoyed every minute trying to make my contribution to the company, to the society, to my colleagues as positive as possible. Because I think that is most important for a leader.
Manoj, your quick fire with Kunba starts now. A leader must always dash.
Inspire.
A leader should never dash.
Never disrespect.
One thing you wish people knew more about Manoj Kohli.
My fitness.
A leader who's captivated your imagination.
Asa.
The most aha moment of your career.
When Airtel won the best company in the country.
A period of your life you'd love to relive.
I forget the past.
A secret vice.
I have a girlfriend. My granddaughter is my girlfriend, and she is secret vice.
When in doubt, Manoj Kohli.
Introspects.
Manoj Kohli's most prized possession is
My family.
a job you secretly wanted but didn't yet.
Could have led AT&T, could have led Verizon in US.
3 people on Manoj's list of the best Indian entrepreneurs to watch out for.
Bhavish, Piyush. Masters Union, I'm the chairperson. There's a guy called Pratham Mittal. He is the founder of Masters Union as an education school, new management school, which is doing very well, similar to ISB, IIM Ahmedabad. Within 3-4 years, he's fantastic.
Crypto, climate tech or gaming? What would you bet on next?
Climate tech.
2 books you recommend everyone to read on leadership.
There's a book on execution by 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐵 and Ram Charan. That is a must read because frankly, leaders have to execute. And there's a book on how Apple got built. Fantastic book. Because Apple is my dream company to build.
As a leader of people, what's your message to people who are worried about AI?
Nothing to worry.
If you were down to your last crow in the bank, what would you bet on?
On India,
One founder you'd love to be a co-founder with.
Bhavish.
A business buzzword you dislike in meetings.
Execution, because a lot of people, especially investors, don't understand this word execution. And they say it so many times. First you should do it and then say it.
One thing Manoj never wants to hear in an investing pitch.
Too much focus on hypergrowth, etc. is not a good idea.
One thing that's been on your to-do list for the longest time.
Kilimanjaro, I traveled half of it. I need to go to the top.
Your favorite binge watch till date.
I love Denzel Washington. I love his movies. I binge all of them.
One startup platform that's caught your eye.
Meesho, which is the robotics company for children.
One educator or business leader you wish you had as your teacher.
FC Kohli, who founded TCS.
70-hour work week.
Is possible, and it's important for India.
If you were to invent a new holiday, what would we be celebrating in India?
I think we should celebrate each trillion GDP of India. When we add each trillion, I think it's a big thing when the world is degrowing and India is growing a trillion. It's a big celebration for India.
A tech breakthrough you wish you'd like to see in your lifetime?
I feel that detox from tech for individuals should also be as a tech objective.
Your biggest investing error?
I haven't made errors.
An Indian investor you really admire?
Sudhir Sethi,
Soundtrack to your life will be?
nice guy.
Your favorite movie or show character when we say the word leadership?
Nelson Mandela. You know that football movie? Invictus.
Your favorite digital wallet?
GPay?
Ola or Uber?
I don't know, my wife does that.
Amazon or Flipkart?
My wife does it.
Your favorite OTT platform?
Netflix?
Your favorite celebrity you follow on social media?
Prime Minister Modi is one. He has built a purpose into this country.
The biggest lesson you think Airtel could learn from Jio?
I think Airtel is a superior company.
The biggest lesson you think Jio could learn from Airtel?
Better brand.
Watching an F1 race with Sunil Mittal or discussing fitness tips with Masa?
Both.
If you had a gigantic billboard out there, Manoj, and you could put a message to millions, what would it be and why?
Keep fit, keep positive.
Manoj, thank you. It's been a wonderful pleasure and delight having this chat with you on Kunba. Our viewers are going to learn a lot from this conversation. Thank you.
Kunba is really doing a great job on building leadership capabilities and leadership behaviors in this country, which we really need in the next 25 years of nation building.